Champions League's ties. And what a game we have to start off with. Manchester United hosting Paris Saint-Germain. Let's hear from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a bit more now as he charges his teammates to keep things going, keep this streak going at United amidst all these questions about his future.
I would have said yes if we didn't play against PSG or in the Champions League as well. Of course, when Man United ring you and ask you to help, you take a chance and you think that you're going to help them. I believe in the way I do things, but of course, it's a fantastic game to look forward to. Champions League is a fantastic tournament, so it is a test for our whole team. You expect to win every single game of football when you got the players like this, the club, the size of and the supporters we have. Then again, you know you're not going to win every single game. But I still think the players are disappointed with the 2 points we lost against Burnley, and so am I. We're going to play against some top teams the next few games, but now it's just to focus on this one. It's always been like that. You have to think about the next one, and that's been one of the big pluses, that the players have been focused on the next task all the time. We don't look too far ahead, because then you lose your focus. So looking forward to this.
Is it too simple to say these games against PSG and Liverpool, if you win them and win them in style, will be enough to actually convince the bosses here that you should get the job full time?
Yeah, it's too simple.
But those wins, that would surely give them a difficult decision to make.
You have so many ways of. You need to change the script now soon, because you've got so many ways of asking us questions. So that's too simple. It's still a few more months left of this season for me to do whatever I can for the club.
We're not changing the script here at beIN Sports, though. Let's head to Manchester right now. Join our reporter, Matt Critchley. And Matt, has a decision been made at club level regarding the permanent manager's job?
No decision yet, and I think Manchester United will wait, and let's face it, they can leave it really as late as possible because they know they've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer until the end of the season at the very least. So I don't think there's any rush from their point of view, although you may well have seen the pictures from Fulham, the game at the weekend, with Avram Glazer, one of the directors at Manchester United, one of the parts of the owner's family, alongside Ed Woodward at the match. A lot of people will be reading into that. I think Avram and Joel Glazer are expecting at the game here against Paris Saint-Germain tomorrow, and there's no doubt that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can find a way of getting past Paris Saint-Germain in this round of 16 tie overall, maybe beat Liverpool as the question was there, then we could be getting closer to United announcing him full-time as their next manager. But no decision is made just yet, and I think they're keeping their options open because, of course, we know how quickly things can go both ways in football. But what we can say is, with 10 wins out of 11 games so far, he can have done little more than what he's managed to do, which is miraculous, really, the way he's turned United's season around, back in the top four, and all of a sudden they have a huge amount of confidence going into this game tomorrow.
In a way, it's normal that people already start to look for that kind of stability, even though it's still, we're still in February, there's still a long way to go and still a lot of objectives to fight for. But the truth is, if things continue this way, and even with a few less good results, but if they continue the same pattern, of course, it's an obvious situation to keep it going. I mean, you don't want to change something that's going good. On the other hand, United do need to look long-term, and that's why I think the addition of a sport director, of a good one, it's probably a very healthy and helping addition.
Jordy Karev speaking to beIN Sports on this situation earlier today. Now, Matt, United back in the top four domestically, and given this turnaround at United that Solskjaer has driven here, do you think it's potentially they could challenge for the Champions League trophy?
Yeah, I suppose the nature of that question just underlines what a turnaround it has been when the draw was made back in December with Jose Mourinho still in charge. Don't think too many people thought Manchester United had any chance of getting through against Paris Saint-Germain, and now one or two people are speculating that Manchester United could have the potential in the squad to go all the way to the final and maybe even win the Champions League this year. I think from what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying today and from the messages we're getting from United, I think they're trying to keep it just quite low-key, not talk about that sort of ambition just yet at the club. I mean, this is Manchester United, let's not forget that, and this is a club that's been used to winning things for the past 25 years and beyond that, and they want to get back to the top table of European football, so their ambition quite clearly will be to win the Champions League and to get themselves back into the top four. Realistically this season, I think it might just come too soon. I don't think they've quite got the squad depth to do that this year, but we've seen in the past with the likes of Porto, even Liverpool in 2005, they can go a long way in this competition with a decent draw, with a little bit of luck and a bit of magic here and there, so I don't think you can count against it.
And Matt, Manchester United have to face Chelsea in the next couple of weeks as well. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, Maurizio Sarri under immense pressure right now, given that result this weekend, that humiliation against Manchester City. Do you think Sarri's job is under threat?
Well, Chelsea were abject yesterday. It was a very poor performance from them, and I think the nature of the defeat and the way that Maurizio Sarri handled himself during the game would ring alarm bells for Chelsea fans and probably for people that want Maurizio Sarri to be at the football club long term. He was lifting his arms out in frustration, in wonderment really at what his team were doing. He kept turning around to the bench and asking Gianfranco Zola, what are they doing? Why are they not listening to me? And it was probably as bad as it's been. In fact, of course, a record defeat in the Premier League for Chelsea. So what happens next? Well, it would take Roman Abramovich, I think, who has taken more of a backseat of late, to intervene here. I don't think there's a great desire at this stage from Chelsea Football Club to sack Sarri. I think they want to try and give him as much time as possible, but of course if Roman Abramovich intervenes and says I think that's enough time, then of course he is the decision maker at Stamford Bridge, and that would be that. You only have to look back in history, and Felipe Scolari was sacked at this time of year, Andre Villas-Boas, who both actually had better records than Sarri. He's lost 4 of his last 8 games for Chelsea, and if they continue like this, then there will be big questions asked. So yeah, they have home and away games against Malmo in the Europa League, and then they have a game against Manchester United, as you mentioned, in the FA Cup, and then a Carabao Cup tie. So some big matches ahead. I think Sarri will stay for now, but he knows that results have to improve, and quickly.
Yeah, Matt, you were at that game there yesterday, so obviously you have some insight. In your opinion, what do you think's gone wrong for Sarri this season? So much promise at the beginning, and it seems to have fallen apart a little bit. Is it something to do with the players, tactics? What is it for you?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it was a really good start to the season for Chelsea, and things have gone really disastrously wrong in the last 2 months. And I thought Jose Mourinho's comments when he was in the beIN Sports studio 3 or 4 weeks ago were very interesting, when he basically said that if you stop Jorginho for Chelsea, you stop the team playing. And I think many sides have worked that out. If you can keep the ball away from Jorginho, put him under a lot of pressure. I mean, Chelsea, they were 3-4-0 behind after 25 minutes yesterday, so it didn't really ring true yesterday, but they've lost heavily at Bournemouth. They've been beaten by Tottenham in recent weeks, and I think sides have looked at it and said, put real pressure on the central midfield areas, stop Jorginho, stop getting the ball up to Hazard and Higuain, who barely got a kick yesterday, and that's the way to get past them. They've got a soft centre. David Luiz and Rudiger are not top-class central defenders. Azpilicueta was well off form. He came in to the interview room yesterday and said, listen, I apologise, that was the worst performance of my career. Marcus Alonso is well off form. Arriba Balaga, of course, is still getting used to life in England. So there's issues there for Chelsea, and big problems that Maurizio Sarri has to sort out, and quickly.
And finally, Matt, while we still have you on here, former United legend Paul Scholes has a new job now in management. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, you may or may not have heard of this team, but it's Oldham Athletic from League 2 here in the UK. So this is Paul Scholes' boyhood club, a side who he has supported his whole life. And I think Scholes, since he retired 6 or 7 years ago, has always had that desire to get back in and be a manager. He's really been part of the media landscape here in the UK over recent times, commenting on Manchester United. But as I say, he had that desire to get back in, and he's been once or twice before interested in the Oldham job, and things just haven't worked out. And Oldham, who have been in the Premier League in the distant past, but have dropped down through the divisions here in the UK, as I say, now find themselves in League 2, which is the 4th tier. So it's a club just outside of Manchester. They're currently 14th in League 2, and for him now it's really just about keeping them in the league for this season and trying to build and see what he can do. They don't have a lot of money, so it's just about I suppose you could call it grassroots starts for Paul Scholes in management.
Well, if Oldham wasn't on your radar already, it might be now. Okay, thank you very much. Matt Critchley joining us from just outside Old Trafford. So, Manchester United against PSG is the feature game on beIN Sports HD11, this channel right here at 2200 Mecca tomorrow night. Elsewhere tomorrow, Roma host Porto. And on Wednesday, the feature game on HD11 is between Tottenham and Dortmund. In our studio is the former Arsenal boss, Arsene Wenger. And we also have coverage of Real Madrid's trip to